So I want to start off this review by saying this movie, the first fairy tale movie, Priestess of the Phoenix, was surprisingly pretty good. Now, I'm not that big a fan of movies in general, and anime movies I'm not that big a fan of. I'm not gonna lie. I could probably in less than 10 fingers tell you the amount of movies that I actually really enjoy. So coming into this movie, I really had no expectation. I was just like, whatever, it's gonna just be probably another shonen movie. But it actually delivered pretty well, I gotta say. Like, it felt, for the most part, the vibe of this movie, it felt as though it was like one of those classic Dragon Ball Z movies in a way, as far as the action goes, where like everybody is jumping and doing moves and everybody's participating. Like, one of the highlights of this movie, I have to say automatically, is that everyone got their time to shine. Like, characters I thought weren't even going to be in the movie got their time to shine, and that's something very big that I like about a movie. When they bring all the characters from the series and they do all that, that really shines to me, and that's really important to me because, you know, my favorite character might not be there, and then I'm going to be disappointed. So the fact that all the characters actually participated and did something for the most part was very enjoyable. Now, I felt as though maybe Hiro Mashima, the author, actually had a hand in this, because there was some elements that I felt like it was truly his work in there, and I don't just mean the series, I mean like original characters, like the character Eclair, the Phoenix Stone, and how she's trying to go about with her mission and whatnot. Her character design automatically looked like a Hiro Mashima drawing, and again, that could just be speculation, but it did look like one. And overall, just that particular character, I felt like she was structured very well. Now, the plot of the movie, for the most part, is kind of cliche, you know, rescuing a certain person and, you know, a certain magical thing that comes out of nowhere. So yeah, you can definitely say that's one of the weak points, that it felt cliche. A couple other things that, and I would say, are weak points is, you know, Natsu coming in, doing the whole, I'm the main character, I'm gonna destroy this, and you're gonna stop your bullcrap. So, you know, there are some weak aspects to this movie. It's not perfect by far, but it does have a lot of enjoyment to it. It was structured pretty well for the most part, with a lot of different things. And I felt like, as overall, as a debut for the very first fairy tale movie, it is hands down one of the best debut movies for an ongoing shonen. I will say that. Like I said, I'm not that big of a fan of movies, of in general, anime movies, shonen movies. It's not my cup of tea per se, but this movie definitely executed it very well. The stuff with Erza, I felt like was very, like, it was gold, because it was almost giving character development to a character in a movie. It was like, it didn't feel like it was even being coming out of nowhere. The whole thing of Erza with the wedding and whatnot, I'm trying not to dive into spoilers too much, but you can really equate that to her relationship with Jalal from the series. So to actually see that, it actually was like pretty like, oh shit, you know, they're actually adding character development in a movie, and it's showing a bit more to her feelings and whatnot. And I like that. I thought that was really nicely done. Jalal needs to get on his A game and stop being a punk, because Erza's waiting, dog. Erza's waiting. And overall, just like some of the other aspects of the final fight with the Phoenix, that was pretty enjoyable. I kind of didn't like how the guy from Carbuncle, the guild, I kind of didn't like how he was just there. He didn't really play too much of a part. He wasn't really that important. Same thing with the king guy with the blonde hair. He really felt like just some random guy there. Kind of felt like Helmeppo from One Piece, spoiled rich king. Well, you know, Helmeppo wasn't king, but you get my point. The villains, for the most part, weren't the most epic. The Phoenix was okay, nothing too big. It was really more so just seeing our heroes trying to deal with the situation. One of the highlights of the movie as well, I gotta say that I enjoyed about this movie, Makarov. Makarov just showed in this movie why he is one of the best old wise men of any anime. Like, he, not only is he wise, but he also breaks the rules to do what he feels needs to be done, and I like that. I love what he did in this movie. I felt like Makarov was very enjoyable. One of my favorite things, like, just seeing him, what he did, put a smile to my face. Again, characters that I thought weren't even going to be in there, like Gajil, was awesome to see him show up. He didn't play too much of a big part, but he was there enough. Like, every character in the movie had enough screen time, doing enough enjoyable things that really made me like, okay, you know, this is actually pretty good. Happy, kind of the character design for Happy, he looked a little weird in this one. He looked kind of like more babyish or cartoonish. I don't know if that was purposely done just to get like more kids to watch or something like that, but that was something I noticed about the movie. And overall, just enjoyability. It was like really enjoyable. It just really had a lot of, I guess, fairy tale to it, because fairy tale does fairy tale well. When fairy tale tries to step out of its zone and do something else, it doesn't always succeed. But with this particular movie, fairy tale did what it does best, and that's just kick ass. A lot of cool fight scenes, a lot of relationship stuff, because fairy tale also is really good at adding little subtleties to the relationships and a little the adult themes that it adds in there, like the whole Juvia and Gray relationship. I found that to be some of the funniest stuff, with Juvia saying, "Are you flirting with my Grey Sama?" to some dude. That was just like hilarious. And overall, just again, really good movie. It did have its weak points, like I said. Another thing that I felt like was a little weak was Lucy just meeting this particular female, the Claire character, and she kind of like within seconds already was declaring that that's her friend and whatnot. Like, you know, fairy tale, when it pushes too much with the whole friendship, then yeah, it can get a little disruptive and disrupt the flow of everything. But other than that, like, again, for what it was enjoyable. I give it out of a scale of 1 through 10 because, like with movies, there's more content, so I like to give it a higher scale to go through instead of 1 through 5. I give it a 8 out of 10. It really did some very good things with the characters, gave Urza some character development. It had Natsu, like, Natsu was playing that kind of like Goku role, I would say, like, you know, a Dragon Ball Goku role where at the end of the day you need one of the strongest to come out and finish things up. And also the tone of the movie, I want to talk more about the tone of the movie real quick, was that the tone wasn't like a typical shonen, and without giving too many spoilers, I felt like the way it ended felt very unique, because every movie always ends like with, you know, characters singing and dancing and whatnot. And for it to end the way it did, with basically ending in sort of tears, I felt that was original and overall just a very good experience. Let me know what you think if you've seen the fairy tale movie. What did you think as far as like everything that happened? Do you feel like it was a big leap away from typical movies? For me, it was like kind of cliche with certain aspects, you know, like I said, the helpless girl, the magical things that come out of nowhere, but it did have a lot of enjoyable moments, and it did bring a lot of fairy tale to the table. That's the best way to put it, you know. It even had a little bit of fan service in there for the people that love that, so there you go. And yeah, just let me know your overall thoughts on the movie. I thought it was pretty enjoyable, 8 out of 10. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up for this awesome movie, because, you know, for an 8 out of 10 for a debut fairy tale movie, I definitely think it deserves it. And if you like fairy tale, you like to see, or you just like to see cool stuff, you can definitely check it out, because it doesn't really connect with the series. So it's not like, you know, you necessarily need to see fairy tale to check this out. It can kind of stand alone on its own. So yeah, give it a shot. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.